was a grueling loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. And today's episode of Falcons Today by Chat Sports is our official Overreaction Monday. I'm going to give you my full thoughts and analysis on my overreactions to the loss against the Buccaneers. But before I do that, Falcons fans, tell me your one-word reaction to the Falcons loss in the comment section down below. I realize my voice sucks today, so I'm going to try and make this video as short and concise as possible so that you don't have to listen to this god-awful sound. My one-word reaction, avoidable. And coming up on today's episode, we're going to talk about some of the players that could have helped prevent this loss, including, but not limited to, Younghoe Koo, who, by the way, might get cut, Zac Robinson may be on the hot seat, and then the rookies, who we do need to see step up as we enter into week 2, 3, 4, 5, and beyond in the 2025 NFL season. So let's start with the overarching takeaways, right? What were the official overreactions? Well, Micahel Penix Jr. showed off. This is the positive. We're going to get into the negatives here in a little bit. Micahel Penix Jr., I went back and watched the tape. He was so much better than I originally gave him credit for. I mean, he balled out. Now, the quarterback rating might not jump off the page to you because usually it's like a 100 rating or higher is what you're looking for. But I thought he was confident and poised most of the game inside of the pocket. There were a few plays here and there where he didn't set his feet, he didn't go through his progressions, or he overthrew a target. That's going to happen. He's a young quarterback. He's not a finished product. So we have to give him a little bit of grace. But for what we saw, his ability to drive down the field and get the Falcons into field goal position. And let's be clear, there were a couple of passes the wide receivers absolutely let him down. So as far as I'm concerned, the Falcons have a quarterback. He was really, really good yesterday. And if you liked his performance, like I did, hit that thumbs up icon. Not only does it help grow the channel, but it shows me you support QB9 or QB1, but QB9. You see what I did there? So there's the one positive against that game against the Buccaneers. Let's go into our first negative. Zac Robinson's play calling was horrible. I don't know the last time that I watched a game and even I knew you're going to get stopped on this play because of the specific offense that you're running. Stop running the pistol. If you're going to run the pistol, at least have some creativity. All day long, what did we see from the pistol? It was either a play action or like a mini RPO where it would be a slant or a stick to Drake London, or it was a handoff to either Bijan Robinson or Tyler Algier. That was all they ran out of the pistol. It was embarrassing to watch. And here's something that's even more embarrassing. The Falcons outplayed the Buccaneers, had more offensive plays, had more total net yards, higher average yards per play. EPA was in the positives. Buccaneers was in the negative. This is clearly bad situational play calling. They had more first downs. They were better on fourth down percentage, and they dominated the time of possession. And if you do all of those things, this is proving to me the play calling just sucked. And I want to highlight one specific play. After Micahel Penix scrambles on fourth down, reaches out to grab that first down on an unbelievable scramble play where he avoids letting his knee hit the ground and just extends his arm for the first down. The very next play that you run is an out sweep to Bijan Robinson on the 1 yard line. Are you kidding me? Power the ball forward. Now, the Falcons ended up scoring on that drive. But it just goes to show you that he's getting too cute. He's trying to be this creative genius instead of just making the simple play call. And the leash will get shorter and shorter and shorter by the game. And ultimately, this comes back to Raheem Morris as well. You're the head coach. the puck stops with you, or the buck stops with you, whatever that phrase is. So I'm going to ask you this question. Was Zac Robinson the biggest to blame for Sunday's loss? Yes or no? I said yesterday in my video that the answer was obviously yes. But if you go back and watch the highlight tape, if you go back and watch the situational play calling, it's even worse than I originally thought. This was Micahel Penix Jr. overcoming bad play calling. Bijan Robinson making plays in the receiving game because the offensive line and the run scheme couldn't get anything going because of predictable play calling. That's the reason the Falcons' offensive rushing yards in this game was so poor. So I have to say that it is an emphatic yes that Zac Robinson is to absolutely blame for this loss. Now, before I get on to my next overreaction takeaways, and speaking of which, Younghoe Koo, he's even lost more stock after what he did in the locker room after this loss. But before I get into that, my friends, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is, of course, HelloFresh. And listen, HelloFresh is making things so simple for your nutrition. I can't believe the complete overkill of all these new dishes. It's great. You may have heard of HelloFresh. They send chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients to your home, but this summer, they made their biggest menu upgrade yet. This is not the HelloFresh that you remember. It's bigger. They've doubled their menu. You can now choose from 100 options each week, including seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Dig into bigger portions that'll keep everybody satisfied. It's tastier. You can get steak, seafood recipes delivered every week for no extra cost. There's 3 times more seafood items on the menu now at no extra cost. Discover new seasonal produce each week, from snap peas to stone fruit to corn on the cob and so much more. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied at discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. I will have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Our third overreaction takeaway. This one's not necessarily an overreaction. It's just something that I've noticed. The injuries just keep piling up. Drake London is now on the list as day-to-day with his shoulder injury. And if you take a look at the key players, the notable injuries for this Atlanta Falcons team, it's not good. I mean, it is really, really concerning to see all of the players that are still currently out or were at least inactive for week 1. Darnell Mooney, who was going to be a game-time decision, ended up not being able to suit up. Jack Nelson wasn't available. Clark Phillips still not available. DeMarco Helms was ruled out. Now Drake London is considered day-to-day. And, of course, Storm Norton and Caleb McGarry. Storm Norton being out for another 5 to 7 weeks, and Caleb McGarry's done for the season. The healthiest teams win down the stretch. And remember, injuries are no fault of any player, but conditioning, the right nutrition plans, all of that gets baked into how you treat your body. And game day injuries are going to happen to every single team. You can't do anything about it. But the more and more injuries pile up, the more and more you have to ask yourself, what is going on at Falcons practice? Why on earth are all of these players getting injured? Is there drills that they're running that they shouldn't be running? It just starts making you ask more questions. That's the only thing that I'm taking away from this is if the injuries keep piling up, especially during practice, I have to wonder, what on earth are you doing or should you not be doing in order to prevent your star players from getting on the field? Our fourth overreaction, biggest one, he's lost more stock. Younghoe Koo has lost way more stock to me. And here's why. I was upset after the game yesterday. After watching him clank one in off the right upright and then miss the game-tying field goal. I see this push notification on Twitter from Orlando Ledbetter. He wasn't around to explain himself after the game. A PR rep said that Koo left before the media was able to be admitted into the locker room. He ducked the media. Not only is that completely unprofessional, but it is taking away all accountability in what you provided for the Atlanta Falcons. Shame on you. Shame on you. And I get it. Nobody is harder on you than you. You're your own worst critic. I'm sure you were upset at your performance. I'm sure that you were embarrassed. I get all of that. It is human to feel those emotions. You are a professional kicker. You have an obligation and a duty to take accountability and responsibility for your shortcomings. So the writing to me is on the wall for Koo. Not only in his performance, but when you decide to duck the media, it just basically tells me you don't want to even admit your wrongdoing. And that's a reflection not only on you, but your coaching staff and your teammates. So I'm sure all of the other Falcons are thinking to themselves, hey, we all took that loss. We were all available for the media. Why weren't you? There's no excuse for yesterday's performance, and there's no excuse for you ducking the media. Let's go to our last one. This one is not nearly as important at this point during the season after game one, but I need a little bit more from the rookie pass rush. I thought there were some good things from the Falcons pass rush this last game, especially with a stat that I pulled up, and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute, but specifically from Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., there wasn't nearly as much as I thought there would be. Jalen Walker only had 3 tackles. James Pierce Jr. only had 1 quarterback hit. Now, granted, there were a couple of other pressures that happened throughout the game, so I don't want to say it was an awful performance. However, you drafted these guys in the first round. You want to see more production. Jalen Walker specifically. You're the 15th overall pick. You got to get more involved. 3 tackles, okay, fine. First game, I'll give you a pass. Same with James Pierce Jr. I'll give you a pass. There was one specific play where James Pierce Jr. almost recorded a sack. He got a quarterback hit. Got great pressure, great play. But I need to see 3 to 4 pressures per game, and I need to start seeing those quarterback hits become sacks. And at one point, this is for the Falcons defense and pass rush as a whole, Baker Mayfield was 0 of 6 on the day when the Falcons applied pressure, and 9 of 13 when he was in a clean pocket. Meaning what? When you have designed schemes to get the pass rushers back into the backfield, you clearly have enough talent to force the quarterback to make errant throws. That's something I don't think we could have said about the Falcons last season, 2 seasons, or 3 seasons ago. You now have a good enough room with Arnold Ebiketie, Leonard Floyd, James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker to make the opposing quarterback's life a living hell. Baker Mayfield, outside of the 3 touchdown passes, was not very good yesterday. He played really bad at some points during this game. So I would have continued to apply the pressure, and that's where Jeff Ulbrich needs to have more designed blitz packages for these Falcons rookies. So I'll ask you to grade the defense as a whole, because the pass rush at times I thought was an A, and then times they disappeared. And I would say it was more like a C- or a D. But the defense as a whole I thought played really well. You only allowed 23 points to a really high-powered Bucs offense. So I'm going to say it was a solid B. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Situationally, I thought they could have been better, which is why I can't give them an A. And they lost the game. So situationally, need to get better. But as a whole, I thought it was great. One more quick little thank you, guys. Yesterday on our live stream before the power outage, we gained 568 subscribers. We are less than 300 away from our next milestone, which feels like we just hit 38K. We are 232 away from 39K. So if you're a loyal Falcons fan, hit that subscribe button and make sure you never miss anything surrounding the Dirty Birds. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. We'll be back later on today with more injury news, rumors, and more Falcons content just for you. Until next time, Falcons fans, my name is Moose. Rise up and be cool.